Hey, what's up everyone? It's Steph from Stephly Films. Look what I've got in my hands today. The brand new Atem Mini Pro ISO or ISO, which was just announced today by Blackmagic Design. Or maybe not. In any case, Blackmagic Design announced a newly upgraded model of the Atem Mini Pro called the Atem Mini Pro ISO. Remember this video I did last month? Will we be getting an Atem Mini Pro 2 by the end of 2020? That fills up these empty slots? Well, I'm half right because they did release a new model, but it's not even 5 months since the last model came out. The Atem Mini Pro came out some 5 months after the original Atem Mini was released, and now just 3 months in, the ISO model hits the market. I've watched the Atem live production update video earlier today, and what are my initial thoughts on the new ISO model? Stay tuned. The new Atem Mini Pro ISO model looks almost, if not exactly, identical to the Pro version. ISO basically stands for Isolated Input Recordings, and this translates to the upgraded recording capability of the new Atem Mini switcher. They've redesigned the circuit boards within the switcher, so now you can do up to 5 separate recordings inside the switcher in high quality H.264 format. This means that if you have 4 separate cameras in source 1, 2, 3 and 4, it takes each source and records it into the Atem Mini switcher via the USB-C port here. It also records your images from the media pool into a separate folder that you can access in post. So what's the most amazing thing about this? All the recordings are automatically put into the DaVinci Resolve timeline via a project file, and when you open the project file, you can see all of the recorded media from the inputs as well as your stills all nicely laid out on your timeline, just how like it would in your Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro timeline. But it only works for DaVinci Resolve for now. This feature is super useful for your post-production. Clients usually require a copy of the live stream after the event so that they can put it up on their website or in their archives to be made watchable in future. So with the new ISO model and the individual ISO recordings, you can be sure that you have the full videos from each camera. So for example, if during your live stream you realize your cuts are too abrupt, cutting off too early before a speaker finishes talking, you can edit it in post easily and cut it later to make your video output look more presentable. Now here comes the most important part. How much does the new ISO model cost? On the website, the price is $895 which is $300 more than the Pro version. I'm not sure if you sensed it by now, but I'm not too excited and pretty disappointed with the announcement today, as this upgrade is something that I wasn't looking at. Why so? Over the weekend, I ran 2 live streams for my clients, and me and my team faced some limitations during live streaming, and I was actually in the process of creating a new YouTube video to talk about the 3 most important things to take note of during a live stream event, when I got this notification today that Blackmagic Design released a new model. I mean, it's a little bit too soon, but I was excited about this, as by now you would have known the top 2 most commonly requested upgrades from the real users out there in the forums are to have an additional USB-C port as well as a HDMI output audio monitoring. Did it happen in the new ISO model? No. The following points I'm about to make does not speak for everyone, it's just my personal opinion as well as from my personal experience, not just as a YouTuber talking about live streaming, but a full-time professional who does paid live streaming jobs for clients. So point number 1. The ISO recording, we have always done it in camera, meaning the most traditional way and almost fail-safe way of recording it into the memory card. So for GH5, there are actually 2 memory cards. A 256GB memory card recording in 1080p and 60 frames per second allows you a recording of about 4 to 5 hours. And so far for me, this has never been a problem. And most of the time, the client requires only a small copy of the live stream event just as a keepsake, meaning decent resolution and most importantly, not too big a file. So we have recorded our events on Zoom as well as Microsoft Teams, and they're pretty decent and the clients have been happy so far. And if higher quality post video is required, all the media is available on our memory cards and we can just do a normal edit as we would in all our videography projects, putting files onto the timeline, audio tracks, still images, editing, cutting, everything you do on the timeline itself. Point number 2. Did you realize that this whole ISO recording thing is dependent on the USB-C port recording onto the SSD connected to it? In my last 2 projects, my clients were using the Zoom and MS Teams platforms respectively, which is very popular nowadays due to the ability to interact real-time with people, and most people love Zoom and Microsoft Teams. And the USB-C port on the switcher was fully dedicated to being a webcam port. Yes, that means you can't use the recording function on the switcher itself, which pretty much makes the ISO on the Atem Mini Pro ISO redundant. Point number 3. For myself, I use mainly Final Cut Pro to edit my videos, so I cannot harness the power of the auto laid out timeline function on the DaVinci Resolve. This again I've mentioned earlier as a disclaimer, is a personal opinion, and for you viewers who use the DaVinci Resolve, I would say that this saves you a lot of time. Because putting in the huge clips onto the timeline, trying to timecode sync the clips and waiting for it to render before you can edit it smoothly, you know what I'm trying to say. That takes time. So there you have it. Just my initial thoughts on the Atem Mini Pro ISO model that was just announced today by Blackmagic Design, and honestly, I'm not too excited by it with the announcement of the new features. Come on Blackmagic Design, give me double USB-C ports and audio output monitoring on your HDMI output. But still, I will try to get my hands on a copy and try to test it out, and hopefully my initial thoughts are wrong and my impressions will change. But at the end of the day, as always on my ViewTube channel, I want you, my viewers, to have a clear understanding and real feedback from my experience so that you can get the right model for your right usage. $300 is a lot of money considering the price of the Atem Mini Pro, which is $595. That's about a 50% increase in the price. Does it increase my productivity by 50% from the Pro to the ISO model? Right now, based on what I see, the answer is a flat no. But we'll see when I get my hands on the ISO model. Before I end this video, I would like to say it really means a lot to me if you found any of the information I shared useful, and if you can give this video a like, so it encourages me to continue making such videos for you. On the other hand, if you dislike this video, feel free to let me know in the comments below so I can work on my future video content to bring you something that you like. If you want to learn more about photography and videography on this channel, or get instant updated tips on the Atem Mini, like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell. And as always, if you have any questions, please let me know.